Good friggin' morning from New England, folks, and welcome back to episode 24 of the So New England podcast. I'm your host, Ian Brownhill. Of course, joined by my co-host and best friend, Robert Travisano, who apparently has the giggles right now. Sorry. And all things life's been in New England, So New England podcast producer, Vincent Guarneri behind the camera. And guys, once again, we have a phenomenal guest for you. I'm very excited to share this individual story with each of our listeners and watchers, for those of you who are on YouTube. So without further ado, RJ, please give us one of our wonderful introductions.
Round two. Welcome, viewers and listeners, to this installment number 24 of the So New England pod. Today's guest is truly one of the most genuine creators I have had the pleasure to write about, and we cannot wait to share and learn all about him on today's awesome episode, to hear all about his amazing stories. And if you don't believe me, you can just ask the 3.2 million subscribers on his main YouTube channel, and another 133,000 on his streaming channel, and another 100,000 plus for anybody in the Spanish-speaking community. Or, just in case, the 2.9 million TikTok followers he has earned, and just to be safe, if there is still any doubt on the quality this man puts out, he's also pushing a near 100K on Instagram. Whether it's content about his daily life and activities, journeying through the wild roller coaster of life, sharing with us something nostalgic from way back in the day that made him think, the people need to know, or just bringing in his Guatemalan heritage directly to you. It is with great pleasure that I introduce, from our beautiful little roadie, Mr. Jorge Soto.
Wow. No
Let's
horn,
go.
I guess.
There it is.
There it is. I don't have headphones
I was
on.
gonna say, you don't have headphones on, so you don't know, but there was a wow, there was a horn, there was everything.
I trust y'all.
Jorge,
Let's
welcome
do it.
in, my friend.
What's up?
Thank you for being here. This is
Thank
so
you
great.
so much.
What a full circle moment for me on an individual level. But I got to ask, man, hearing those numbers handed back to you like that in your introduction, what does that feel like, hearing like you've got that kind of audience?
I really don't think much about it, honestly. I just kind of enjoy doing the videos and the content where it's just, I feel like the numbers is just kind of the cherry on top.
Right.
Because I say this all the time. I just feel already fulfilled enough doing the videos, and then just, you hear people enjoying them, you hear people liking them. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing to hear.
What a cool thing.
But yeah.
Now, for our quick backstory, I started creating I started creating content back in 2019, and it was around 2021. Was it 2021?
I think it was 2021.
I came across, and I'd seen some of your videos, and I came across one of yours that was relative to informing me that you were from Rhode Island. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
I only know like two other people that make videos in Rhode Island, and they're not on TikTok, they're on Instagram. So then I reached out to you. I was like, hey, I'm a fellow Rhode Islander. And at that point, you had already achieved massive success, especially in my eyes, because at that time I only had like 50 or 60,000 followers. So I reached out to you and I was like, hey, I would love to chat with you. I'd love to learn how to use the app better, how to be more creative, how I can improve my overall, approach to social media. And with open arms, you're like, dude, not a problem. Let's meet for coffee.
Bring me way back too, because I remember I used to watch all your videos like all the time as well. I remember like everybody remembers, the one with the snow.
On
Halloween.
The one
that started it all.
That's the one that started it all.
Yeah, that was the one where I was just like, oh yeah, this guy's great and stuff. And then when you just said New England, so I'm like, oh, he's from New England. That's amazing. But then hearing from Rhode Island, I'm like, oh, that's even crazier because, I don't know anyone else from here as well, which is insane.
Which is so unique in and of itself about Rhode Island, because it's like we are the smallest state, but people often, and I'm repetitive here on my own podcast, but people often forget that in our state, there are so many towns. And we all have our own way of living in these towns. It's like we are not a very interconnected community. Like it's just like little like bubbles of how we decide to live.
Absolutely.
Italian, Guatemalan, Puerto Rican, Dominican. I mean, really, Providence is the only place that really kind of integrates everything. But
Cranston too, a little bit.
Yeah, Cranston too, a little bit. But anyway, so it's just quite funny that we ended up getting connected the way that we are, and now here I am. Here you are with triple the success from when we first met, and I'm lucky enough to say I've built a bit of a following, and now you're on my podcast. So
thank you again for having me and everything.
Yeah, I love moments like this. So enough about that.
Yeah,
let the people know who you are. Who's Jorge? Where are you from? How'd you get started? Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into content creating. Tell us a little bit about all that.
Shoot, I mean, it all started when my mom met my dad. No,
I really prefaced it like I want to know how you were conceived.
I mean, I was born and raised here in Providence. I went to classical high school, Nathaniel Green Middle School as well. And just being raised in that whole culture, I was raised in a very Hispanic oriented house. Let's say my mom, she really just raised me to learn Spanish in the house, and then just you learn English in school. So that's how I just kind of learned both cultures at the same time. And during March 2020, when COVID happened, quarantine, I was a senior in high school at the time. So that was, no prom, no graduation. My graduation was a slideshow, it was just so-and-so graduated. Okay, on to the next slide, And half of those kids didn't even submit pictures. So it was just like a little silhouette with a question mark. So
oh my God. Could you imagine that?
Oh, it builds character.
I joke because there was a brief period of my life where I went back to school. Yeah. After graduating college, doing the whole thing, 7 years later, went back to school to try something else. And I remember being in class like, what am I doing here? This is not the same. All the hybrid learning, different. Like learning off a PowerPoint that the professor embedded his voice into was insane to me. But,
exactly.
Yeah. So sorry. Continue.
I didn't know that happened.
So during that time, to keep my sanity, I downloaded TikTok just to start consuming it all. And I really enjoyed the videos. At the time, I thought it was a kid's app. You don't think much about it. And then I just started consuming. I'm like, oh, there's some funny stuff on here. You know what? Let me like take a crack at this. So I just started doing some videos. They weren't really the best, but as time progressed, you start finding your voice. You start finding what you like to do. And then you start putting more effort into videos. And for me, at least, the more effort I put in, I saw the numbers kind of snowballing into more and more. And I'm like, oh, this is insane. And then fast forward to that August 2020. Yeah, literally 2020. I make $8 off of the app. And I thought that was enough. I'm like, oh, I'm making money. I'm gonna drop out of college. I'm not gonna go to college. So,
making $8 is all it took.
Oh yeah, making my mom proud and everything. I'm like, Ma, it's a gap semester. Trust me. Trust
With
me
inflation, it matches though. I mean, look at The Rock. He left when he had what, $7, $7 production.
Exactly.
There you go. Now you're $8 production.
Now it's $8. Pretty much.
To account for the changes in the economy.
But still, at that time, I was just kind of living paycheck to paycheck, working at a Walmart, which I talk about all the time in my videos, and just working as much as I can. And I was just super motivated to just really make something out of this. And in 1 year, I hit the 1 million on TikTok, with just all of the videos and everything. And then I started this whole, even like this little profile picture movement with the Horchata logo. Oh, you can see? We have a plushie, coming out in... Hopefully it comes out by the time this comes out.
Yes, exactly. You're going to be doing these for what, Black Friday, you said?
Yeah, I'm shooting to launch them all by Black Friday.
These are awesome. I remember the first time we met, you gave me a bunch of stickers.
It used to be stickers. Now it's a plushie.
There we go.
Let's
I
go.
love that.
But
that thing took the internet by storm.
Yeah.
At one point, I was following. I thought you just had multiple accounts. I was like, oh, these are people who just stole his profile picture.
Yeah. I told everyone too. I told people like, let's just do it for fun. Why not?
Yeah.
And I think it was like over 200,000 people did it on TikTok.
Wow.
And then I
shit you not. It took the internet by storm.
And then I had this little war with like another friend who had another profile picture movement with his logos and stuff in his channel. And me and him were bantering off in 2021, gaining like 100,000 followers each day. Like it was insane. We're just looking at this like, what is going on?
That's so cool.
And then, that's when I was finally able to quit my job at Walmart. I was like, okay, I can finally do this full time. And that same friend told me, hey, get all your TikToks and put them on YouTube, like as YouTube Shorts, because that was a brand new thing. That's when all these apps like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, they're just trying to compete with TikTok. And I said, sure, why not? And 6 months later, I really didn't see much in the algorithm changing and stuff, but I kept on going. November 2021 was when it really took off, and January 2022. Right? Yeah. I gained 1 million on YouTube. So in 3 months, gained 1 million subscribers on that platform. Yes. And then I'm just like, this is insane, So and then you just start learning what works, what doesn't work really on your content. And, now 2-3 years later, we're here just doing this full time still, launching all these other channels, streaming the Spanish channel, all of it. Yeah.
That's so crazy. What an awesome story.
I love that.
The part that is kind of standing out to me is the duality of being able to do the Spanish channel and like the American channel.
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you Do you record in English and then record in Spanish?
Yeah, I mean, no. So now I do go to a company, like a production company, to just dub my videos in Spanish.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty much all they do. So at the time beforehand, maybe 2 years ago, when I was trying to take a crack into the Spanish market, I was dubbing the videos myself, translating them and everything. It just took up a lot of time.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm doing the video over again.
Right.
And although I speak Spanish and fluent Spanish, it's just very different when you're talking to the motherland.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. So that's when I just reached out to a company like, hey, can you guys just help dub my videos? Because those same friends who told me to get on YouTube Shorts, they were doing that. So they were just dubbing their videos in Spanish. Some of those guys have a higher following in the Spanish market, and some of them don't even know a lick of the language. They just said, oh, let's just do it. Why not? And it just took off. And then now I'm just kind of doing it. And I do throw in a lot of my cultural background in my already existing English videos. So translating them in Spanish is just super like fluent and just like super, it flows really nicely.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm curious because obviously we're the So New England podcast. So if you don't mind me asking, you're probably the first individual that has been multilingual, I believe. I mean, maybe someone else might, but not to the extent where it's part of your branding.
Yeah.
And here in Rhode Island, obviously there are communities of people, especially in the Providence area, who are multilingual and speak multiple languages. So
Absolutely.
I would love to know what it's like for you creating content as a multilingual person in New England. And I guess it's more along the lines of how the content kind of transfers throughout this region, because obviously I'm only doing English and I'm doing the stereotypical Boston accent. So
I was gonna say, that's
what is
kind
the
of another
community like
language.
here for you?
The community here is just it's just the Latin community that I guess is just all over the country, really, if that makes sense. I just know we have a very dominant Central American community here, specifically in New England.
Okay.
That is not as common in other parts of the country, surprisingly. And when I was starting doing content, I was talking to a lot of creators here, like yourself and a bunch of other people locally, but I was talking to a lot of creators as well that were just making these Hispanic household content, and a lot of them were in different places in the country. A lot of them were, in Los Angeles, California, Texas, Florida, and I was the only one who was here.
Right,
and they're
right.
like, the hell are you doing here? How'd you end up there? I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, hey,
How the hell did this happen?
I mean, hey, they haven't found us yet here, so we're hiding, So that's what I tell people. But actually, I'm like, I guess it's just super low key where people don't know that there's a lot of culture in Rhode Island, let's say.
Right.
And it's just fun, I think just having that, like, my mom just telling me like Spanish in the house, you got to keep that culture with you.
Yeah.
Has really helped me in extending that forward and just kind of propelling myself in the content that I was doing. And a lot of people there are shocked. They're like, oh, it's crazy. Like your Spanish is really good. Like, and again, you're in Rhode Island. Like we didn't know there were people there in general. So it's just like, yeah, no, there's a lot of people here, and
That's so cool.
At the time I even remember like, our mayor was Guatemalan for a while, so just all those things just kind of propelled. Like, yeah, I mean,
That's right. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like pretty cool. So it's like, yeah, it's just where I was going to school as well. It was very Hispanic dominated as well. So all of that just kind of cultivated into my content. And back to the question of how do I kind of use that in my videos?
Yeah.
It just led to that same relatability that maybe other places that are more dominant, like Los Angeles and Texas and other areas, it still resonates with them, even in Latin America, because the culture was still kind of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah, because your videos do speak to a broad audience. They're not hyper focused in the region.
Right.
Have you done some that are kind of hyper focused in the
Yeah, I
in the
have.
New England regions? But
yeah.
I mean, like you make a lot of content. So spare me, like, forgive me on that one.
No,
But, I guess it was more me trying to understand like what the response is, because I don't know many other creators. I know there is one guy who does stuff from Providence who is like super out there, but he never talks about being from Rhode Island. I found that out in a very weird way.
Okay.
Anyways, the point is, I'm just trying to understand kind of what the response is like, because you're the face of the Hispanic community in this sense.
Yeah.
And how people feel with your being represented in the New England community. Like, hey, we are here. We do represent well. Like, we love New England, but we also love our heritage. And also educate us a little bit on like the Guatemalan like history and heritage. Like, I'd love to learn some stuff about it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would say I love it. I just love representing both sides of it, because I feel like, so Rhode Island's not really well No, let's say like it's super small, smallest state in the country. So that alone, I was already getting a lot of praise for that. Which is like, oh my gosh, we have like a a Rhode Island creator here, because I was one of the first to kind of get that success on TikTok. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. You're from Providence. That's insane. I'm from Providence too. All this.
Right.
And at the same time, well, I'm from Guatemala. They're like, oh my gosh, we finally have a Guatemalan creator, because also Guatemala isn't the most dominant country in Latin America. You think of Mexico, you think of what else, like Colombia, like all these other, like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, all those other countries. Guatemala is also in its own very small niche. So having both of those things just gave me a lot of pride to just share to my audience. And where was I going with this? Like, it's just kind of, I was
talking
just,
about the heritage.
The heritage of it and its representation in the New England region, and like being the face and voice of people and how they've responded to you in this area.
Yeah, I mean, everyone here, they just do take a lot of everyone here, they do take a lot of pride in just their own cultures. So when they see that I'm also from here and hey, I'm one of you guys, and I see a lot of myself in yourselves as well, it just really resonates with them too, and they just love just seeing that. They take a lot of pride because I don't know, especially me growing up watching the content that I used to watch, I never saw somebody from Rhode Island and I never saw somebody Guatemalan.
Same. Right.
So it's just a mix of both. So it's just like, okay, we got this very unique kid, but at the same time, it just resonates with a lot of other people. And that's all I would get, whenever I'm at Providence Place Ball, you always get recognized by just
that's cool.
a lot
I was
of
just going to ask
kids.
that. That's so cool.
Yeah, my audience tends to be a lot younger as well. It's a lot of a younger audience, which is amazing because I do see a lot of myself in them. It's like, oh, like I could just imagine like them just freaking out seeing me. So like, oh, hey, like I'll just give them as much time as I can.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's just it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
because like I know you're early 20s, we're early 30s, and I can look back and think of like career day or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Content creator didn't exist.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It was never like the whole big thing was like, I want to be an actor. I want to be a sports player. I want to do big things like that. But content creator didn't exist. But I'm sure, and maybe you can enlighten us / me, is that like a thing? That's like a thing now, especially like you just said, the younger generation, Gen Z. Is that what it is?
I think it is Gen Z,
X?
But it's also Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha?
Yeah.
Where they're like...
Which they don't say enough. They always say Gen Z, but I'm like, no, it's Gen Alpha that is the new...
Yeah.
Those are the kids that are up until 12?
Like what, 12?
13, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Well, like 12 to 16 when you start to think like, oh, I want to do something with my life. And it's not like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be on the Patriots. It's like,
YouTubers.
I want to be a YouTuber. And like you see... so much of it.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Yeah, that's a whole new career, and they've had me speak at certain schools. They had me speak at certain places.
Cool.
Just literally for career day. They're like, we're
you're right.
Yeah,
is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, but what's the age on that?
2010 to 2024.
All right, so 13 to 14 years old. There you go.
It's a scary thought. Yeah. You'll get there one day too. You're still young there, young man, young whippersnapper.
But yeah, everyone's just like, like inspire these kids, tell them that they can do it, or just everybody always asks like, how do you get started? Did you have to know somebody beforehand? Like, did you have to have certain connections? What was the secret? And it's just like, no, you gotta have to enjoy it and just a lot of self-discipline, I'd feel.
Absolutely.
One of the like you said was saying that you are fulfilled doing the videos.
Yeah,
everything else is a cherry on top, which I think is super valuable. So, and I think it's really cool that you're also being able to, and that's kind of why I asked about the representation aspect of it, because you're going to schools and you're giving a voice to a community, to all the individuals and the younger kids who want to do the YouTube for a career and they want to take, and fellow individuals who are Guatemalan or from other countries that are living here in Rhode Island. Like, how can I be a part of this beautiful state? And that's why I'm like, hey, you got a bit, I don't know if you realize it. I'm not saying you have the responsibility, like you have to do it, but you're organically doing that. And I'm curious. And that's why I was like, what is that like for you? What does it feel like? So that's kind of what I was trying to get at with that.
And absolutely. Yeah, no, it's amazing. I love doing that and just being a voice for that niche and that audience as well. People here, the community. I love doing that.
That's
awesome.
Great.
Now, Rhode Island, we're a food state.
Yeah.
What do you do in Guatemala for food? Like, what is, I don't know, like, what is the, what is the country dish? Like, what is like,
the country dish.
Just to give you some, his palate is very basic. He's like a chicken nugget and French fry kind of guy.
I would have brought some food.
I don't do chicken nuggets.
Don't say cap because he's young 20s. You cannot say that.
I am so cool.
You're 32 years old. Don't say cap.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good restaurants here. A lot of good Guatemalan restaurants here. Actually.
Oh, there is.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk
so we
about
know.
them. Get them out
Name
there.
Let people know.
Oh yeah, I mean we have Mi Guatemala, so like my Guatemala.
Okay.
That's on at Wells, and then we have Mi Ranchito, so my little ranch. That's
Ranchito?
right near. That's in Oneyville, like the
Oh,
Oneyville
okay,
area.
okay.
Yeah, so that's
We
right
know
there.
Oneyville.
Yeah,
We know Oneyville
I mean
well.
Oneyville, New York
Now
system.
you're talking early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So we have that, and then
How close is it to the hot wiener stand?
like a 5-minute walk.
Done.
Done.
I can hit both.
Walk off the wieners and go get some miachata.
Exactly.
go.
I said that
That
right?
sounds-
Horchata.
Miachata? What was it?
Oh, the name of the
ranch?
restaurant, Mi Ranchito.
Miranchito. Well, that was close.
Yes.
That was good.
I thought he said horchata, but
Oh no.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, there's so many other restaurants here. There's like a lot of Mexican places on Chalkstone as
Okay.
well. Like that whole street just has nothing but Hispanic food. Broad Street as well, a lot of really good Dominican food as well. There's just so many different palates and
Yeah.
so many different restaurants. Where
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
just
it's
cool.
obviously
One-
like everyone just immediately thinks, "Oh, Rhode Island, a good Italian food." And well,
That as well.
shame on us.
Oh,
we
no,
often
that as
do
well,
just end
though.
up promoting Italian food. That's
100%.
why I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
enlighten us, like
Please,
teach
yeah,
us something here."
absolutely.
Like what? So then, what is the like the traditional dish of your culture and country
Yeah, traditional dish. I mean,
or dishes? Like what,
there's
what
a
did your
few dishes-
family or your mom cook or something like that?
I would
growing up?
say like for breakfast, it's always you have like beans and then just like scrambled eggs and then just tortillas and everything,
Okay.
just cheese and everything. So that's what a typical dish.
I've been eating like I was Guatemalan my whole fucking
exactly,
life.
pretty much.
I'm Irish. We do beans for breakfast.
Exactly.
And scrambled. Hey, come on, there
exactly.
we go.
So you do that, and then it's just really just steaks and just chicken and just there's just so many dishes. You
Yeah,
know,
gotcha.
Like tamales and all that, and just trying to think of what else. There's so many.
That's
There's
good.
a lot. But
It's, I mean, it sounds like
gonna
we're
say, yeah,
it
no.
just all sounds like really good. You know,
Yo
you can never
soy
go wrong.
es Irish Guatemala, right? I'm an Irish Guatemalan,
Cut
basically.
that.
Exactly.
We're gonna cut
Is that-
that. We're gonna cut
Did
that.
I do that right? But
Keep telling yourself.
I was gonna
yeah.
ask before we got on the topic of the food. One of the things. So we talked about this a little before, but I've known him for 20 years, so I've seen all his growth as far as coming from like, hey, this just happened. I'm just gonna start making TikToks now and see what happens. And then meeting all these creators through him on the pod and stuff like that, I've learned there is a very, very simple way. Now it's not guaranteed and there's no time frame for it. It could be a day, it could be a month, it could be 2 years. But if you could give one piece of advice to any of those younger kids who might watch the podcast or just anybody to say, hey, I want to start content creating, what would you tell them?
Don't stop. Literally, just keep going. Like you got to keep knocking on that door.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Uh-huh.
It sounds so cliche or it just sounds so like that's it, but a lot of people told me that. A lot of people told me that when I was starting. I'm like, what's the secret? What are you guys doing? You know, because at the time I had a lot of friends who were into millions at the time, and I'm just like, what did you guys do? We just didn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, you will slowly start learning it, and I feel like that just shows a lot about yourself as well. If are you disciplined enough, and do you enjoy it as much? Where are the numbers really the reward, or is it just more like making the
Yeah.
videos and stuff? Is that the reward?
Perfect.
Is that alone?
Yeah.
nice.
I really sorry to interrupt you
That's
there.
okay.
And to attest to that question, I asked that because that is the exact response, just in a different way, that I've asked
Everyone.
anybody else that I've talked to. It's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep posting and keep posting
going.
and keep posting, and it'll happen. It might happen tomorrow, or it might happen in a year from now, but it'll happen.
And it's
you just
definitely a
cannot
different
stop.
world
Yeah.
than it used to be too when it comes to content. Because when we first started out, or when you first started out, and then myself as well, it was a lot easier to go viral. So now
yeah.
people are a lot more disheartened when they're not going viral right away, and they're not getting views, and they're not getting the engagement. Because even now, there are people such as myself who, as we like to say, are in TikTok jail. Because even though I have the following, my videos aren't really getting out there. But the joy of making the video is truly what it's all
I feel
about.
like, yeah.
When it is your livelihood, like, yeah, there is a part of you that kind of is like,
Absolutely.
oof, I wish that one did well and helped me grow and helped me keep engagement up. But when you have fun, as you're saying,
Yeah.
I wish I was a little bit more like that. You know, I'm 32, so I
Absolutely,
can't help that growing up in that millennial mindset that's like scarcity, gotta have a real career, gotta have a job. It does feel a little bit more daunting for me than it is. And I get away from that. And when I'm hyper focused on that, I don't make videos that are fun. I make them to try and have a career, and I lose the joy in that. and then they don't
Absolutely.
perform well either. So it's like
it's
a vicious circle. But when I'm
Yeah.
having fun, they perform well.
Yeah.
I'm having more fun. I make more videos, and it just continues to level up.
Exactly.
So that's great advice, my friend.
Absolutely.
Great
Let's talk
advice.
about your
Thank
creative approach to this, because
Yeah.
you use a badass green screen. I don't know what you do. So talk me through like what a filming day is like with you. I want to know how you come up with your ideas, how you creatively approach them. Do you write them down? Is there a script?
Oh, yeah.
How many cameras?
Yeah.
It's impressive, the quality, because it's not just about the quantity, which you are also very good at. You have high quality videos that are incredibly engaging. And I want people to kind of know what a creative process can look like for an individual as yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, when I was first starting making content and everything, I was just kind of doing any little idea that kind of came up to my head. I would just write it down on a sticky note. I still do that. So everywhere I go, everywhere that's with me, I have sticky notes, a pen, paper, just whenever. I'm super old school. I can't just type it on my phone because I'll never look at it. Like the next day, I'll just forget that I have it. As well with that, I do write scripts for my stories. So I just maybe have like something funny happen today in my life. Then, okay, I'll write it out. Let me make a story time out of that because that's most of my content. Or let me make a skit out of that. And then, yeah, I just kind of have perfected it in the sense of kind of trimming out certain things, not giving people too much, but not too less as well. Just kind of giving them like that nice sweet spot, you know, because it's all about retention as well. That's how my brain works. I got to make sure people watch the entire video. So I got to really be as intriguing and just keep them on their feet as much as possible. So for me, every word counts in that script. So once I kind of have that roughly takes me like 2 to 3 hours, just that alone, for like a 30-second video. And then once I have that, I'll film, and I film everything on my phone. Everything, like, I don't have a camera or nothing. I just still do that. It's been, I remember last time we talked about that, it was like 3 years ago. It's still on my phone.
Still on your phone.
Yeah.
Well, do you use an actual green screen backdrop, or do you use a green? Okay.
I do.
Because I was going to say, the TikTok app don't look like that, because every once in a while it like fuzzes out and everyone can see that I'm only in my underwear, and I'm like, oh shit. So I wasn't sure. It was like, wait a minute, you got a really good green screen there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do have an actual green screen that I use, and I just kind of edit all of that on. I do use my MacBook to edit all of my things.
Okay.
And then just kind of export all of that. Exactly.
Were you a creative growing up? Like, I always ask because out of curiosity. I was a class clown. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So like, I'm always curious if people were into acting, or if you were an extrovert, or if you were an entertainer of your family and friends.
Absolutely. I feel like I was always a shy kid, actually, in high school and middle school. Always a shy kid.
Really?
But I would actually, on the creative side of things, I was actually doing a lot of music at the time. I think I've shared this in the past where I would play in a lot of rock bands. I play guitar, so I would just do that. I would write a lot of songs. In high school, I was in multiple bands, and I would just release my own music. That was actually my intention going into TikTok originally, to promote my own music, but somehow it just led to this whole like,
that's
let's
so
just
cool.
have
Hey,
skits.
wherever
Let's
it
just have
goes.
skits.
Well, like you said, you had to kind of put stuff out there to see what stuck, and then once you put out a certain amount of videos, you kind of figure out what sticks.
Absolutely. And at the time too, I just had a lot more fun just kind of like being a goofball in front of the camera,
that's
rather
fun.
than like, I don't know, if there came a point where when I was doing the music, I was just overthinking every single, note or just like word, and just how it sounded, like the production side of things. I really overthought it, where it just felt more fulfilling just doing these videos. They were a lot quicker to get done as well. And also, the return on them is a lot quicker. You do see the success and the numbers a lot quicker, which kind of makes you motivates you as well to really continue doing it. But that's right.
great.
Because you do have a very plethora of videos. So I wanted to ask, because it's not like you just have one thing. You do quite a bit of stuff, like you do. You do quite a bit of stuff. What's your favorite stuff to make? Like, is it storytelling? Is it, talking about your heritage? Is it like just a day in the life when you go to an event?
Great question.
Yeah. I feel like I've just had fun with every little thing, but that storytime format, I always go back to. I just always, I love doing it. I just feel like it's so.
You can tell that you enjoy it.
Yeah. I just love doing it. I feel like it's also a format that you can really change up. It doesn't always get boring because I can always change the topic of the stories. I think I got very fortunate finding that format where it's just, I can talk about anything, so if I'm tired of talking about this topic, I'll talk about this topic. If I'm tired of talking about my heritage, I'll talk about Rhode Island. If I'm tired of talking about Rhode Island, I'll talk about something else, so it's just like so many things that I just feel like kind of I have been around in my life that I can talk about, where that format I love. It does take a lot out of me in terms of the script writing and just coming up with those ideas. So everything has its pros and cons. When I do like voiceover vlogs, when I go out to a concert, or when I do like another thing like that, I like those more because it's more improvised and more on the spot. But as well, there's so many other formats that I've done in the past where it's also the skits that I used to do. I would do a lot of skits in 2020. I would stream. I stream as well as much as I can. So that's a whole other fun format to do.
Yeah, I don't know anything about streaming.
Yeah.
What is that like? Like what do you do with your streaming?
I just think so for streaming, my intentions were just to find a whole other outlet. I had this main channel thing, and I thought of so many things. I did think of a podcast. I thought of streaming. I thought of doing other things, and I thought streaming was just the better the thing for me because I'm also a big gamer.
Right.
Say, like I love just Nintendo stuff. That's all the stuff that I eat up. So
and your generation and your own youthfulness, that is the new thing is streaming for the youth.
Yes.
It's probably been safe to say that it's been an easy transition with your audience?
It fortunately has been, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Just
Happy to
getting
hear
them to kind of get on there, hey guys, like I'm going to be streaming here. Let's just tune in. And a lot of the audience really does. And it's so fun too because it feels more personal as well, where I feel like when you do become a lot bigger, it's so hard to respond to all the comments and just so many things. So when you have just a chat in real time just going at you, you're like, okay, I can talk to you here. I can talk to you here. Hey, how's it going?
Good
I remember
point.
you. So all of that. It's just so much fun to do. And then sometimes they tell me things of like what to do. Like, hey, play this game, do this. Other times they're like, can you tell us a story about this? And I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, actually, this did happen. Let me share all this right now. So I do get a lot of clips as well, which is just a whole other outlet to get more content out as well because it's just super on the spot. Maybe like a 3-hour stream can turn into 10 clips. Similar to a podcast. Where you can get as many clips as possible out of a podcast. So that's what I love doing as well.
Yeah. Wow. That's kind of what the idea was with my podcast too, is like, we sit down, we get to have these awesome conversations. I'm hanging with my best friends. Yeah. And if I can get content out of this, it's free content for me. If it's good enough, it's funny enough or what have you. So to piggyback off of what he said when he asked what type of content you prefer to create or what your favorite is, I'm curious what your favorite platform is to use.
Ooh.
Oh, it's YouTube.
Yeah,
it's definitely YouTube. Yeah,
I mean,
is it because they pay the best? No.
Yes. No. Yes. I would just say, I mean, so I started on TikTok. TikTok's the first love, let's say.
Tidying me up for the cameras.
I was gonna say, I mean, TikTok always had a special place in my heart. It was my first love, let's say, with the platforms and everything. But for me, just TikTok, I just felt like I was really proud of my run on the app in terms of just the whole like profile picture thing. And also at that time, you hear it all the time. They say they're gonna ban the app. They don't know what's going on. It's like all these things. And I'm just like, I don't want them playing with my only source of income. And I'm in it for the long run too. Because for me personally, I just felt like TikTok just wasn't a longevity thing for me because I felt people come and go pretty quickly. I did as much as I can to really stay as well on it, but I'm like, let me transition now before it gets any more downhill, let's say, view-wise and stuff. So I started on YouTube and I started on Instagram, but YouTube was the one that really like took off, let's say. At the same time, the analytics on YouTube, they're in real time. So you can kind of see what's working and what's not in the moment. Okay. So maybe if you have a video blow up today, maybe the same day, okay, I'm gonna drop another one like an hour later. That's the cool thing. So that's how you really capitalize on that algorithm. I know with with like TikTok, for example, maybe video blows up, you're not gonna see those analytics like 2 to 3 days later. So you're not gonna see what worked or what didn't work. And by the time you do, it's like, oh, it's already too late because that wave kind of went down a little.
It drives me nuts. It drives me bananas because I always joke about it and I say it at least once an episode. I'm a numbers guy, so I always want to look at those numbers. Yeah. But when I'll post a video and I'll get 45 minutes of the video being out there, and then I'll get that stupid message from TikTok like, oh, here's your video stuff. And I'm like, does that mean it's over? Are you done with it? Like, it's only been 45 minutes. Yeah. Like, let it marinate a little bit. No, leave it on the FYP.
TikTok has changed so much.
It changes I just couldn't keep up anymore. Yeah. And I just felt like YouTube, they were still kind of figuring out the shorts a little bit more. So when you already had that experience on TikTok, you were able to catch it on early. And just now they released the 3-minute feature for shorts.
I noticed
for
that
the
because
longest
I
time.
texted you and I said I wanted to have another sit down
Yeah.
to talk about YouTube. I've just been posting all of my videos now on YouTube.
You just
and I
have
went
to.
to go. I was like, wait a minute, this is finally over because I'm fairly long form.
Yeah.
I'm about 1 minute to 2 minutes with most of my videos.
Exactly.
So now that I can, I'm like, yep, there it
Exactly.
is. Now I'm going to start really using it. So
Yeah.
that's why I reached out to you. Just a side note.
Let's go. No, but definitely,
Can I
that's
come?
just how much
I
fun
won't,
I have.
I won't
Start a
say.
page.
I won't say anything. I'll just sit there and listen.
But
I have a page. Let me come. No, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, that's what I just loved about YouTube because I feel like for me as well, with just so many analytics in real time, I just kind of understood what was working, what wasn't working on my videos at that very moment, which kind of just made me really like capitalize on the following, just get a higher following.
Yeah.
And they're loyal on YouTube.
I was
Really
just gonna
low.
ask you that because you got to think the stability that YouTube brings when you gain the following that even provides a little bit of success compared to the people that are on TikTok making that kind of money.
Yeah.
It's like few and far between, and you got to
It
be
is.
way up there, up there.
I heard
Definitely.
someone say after they went to, was it VidCon?
Yeah.
They came back and they said, listen, I'm a creator. I went to VidCon this weekend. And if there's one thing that I know for sure, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is king and it will always be king.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I literally was like, I really
Yeah.
gotta get on YouTube.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
move.
YouTube is just, even for me as well, like, although I felt a lot of fulfillment on TikTok for the year or two that I was really, really active on there, when you start feeling that, like, love from YouTube, for me as a kid, I'm like, I want to be a YouTuber. Like,
Right.
TikTok wasn't a thing,
Right.
like nothing bad about it, but just for me personally, I'm like, YouTube, that's the one. That's
Yeah.
like my baby, that's the one
Yeah,
I want
absolutely.
to get on and stuff.
Yeah.
You
And
crush it.
Yeah,
I was gonna-
appreciate it.
I'm going to ask one quick question while we're there because we're talking about the apps. And this might date us a
Yeah.
little bit. Do you remember Vine?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever-
I'm not that young.
I was going to say, well, because I forget. So to me, it's like, when was Vine? I can't remember because it was so popular, so fast.
Yeah.
And then tanked
13,
even
14,
faster.
15?
How old were we?
Yeah, 13, 14, 15 has to be.
It was like
Yeah, so
2013 when it got shut down.
Yeah,
So,
2013 is
like,
when I got shut down.
Okay,
Instagram
all right.
was like 2011.
Oh, okay, so we were still in
No, we
college?
graduated high school.
No,
We
I'm
were
saying
in
college.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they were in college. I was not.
Still paying for it. Thanks a lot.
$8 productions, baby. No.
but
So far, you're
honestly,
winning.
that was the same thing that we were
Yeah.
looking at because I was fortunate enough to have a good group around me of creators where they just felt with the TikTok ban and stuff, it felt like those Vine days of like Vines getting shut down. Like
Yes,
as a
that's why I
creator, where's
asked.
their longevity there? And
Yes.
all of those Vine stars, they just moved on to YouTube, you
Right.
know, and the ones
They
who
had- they
didn't,
had to.
Yeah, and the ones who didn't, you're like, oh man, that's a little scary, you know. Now you kind of have to worry about, like your income and everything.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt that, and I'm like, okay, let me just hop on this YouTube Shorts wave and just see what happens.
Got to.
Interesting.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So that leads me to ask you this then.
Yeah.
You had a stint out on the West Coast.
Yes.
You moved from Little Rhodey,
Yeah.
and like always, as Rhode Islanders do,
Say
we
it back.
move home.
Exactly.
We leave and we come back.
Come on back,
Exactly.
Ain't no love like the New England love.
Hell yeah,
Yes.
brother.
Anyways, so you went to LA. Tell us about it. What was that like? What brought you out there?
That's so funny.
I don't know why we had Southern accents for that.
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
So,
Why did you do
We'll
it?
take it from the top. Ain't no love like a New England love. That's why, because it doesn't sound as good.
Oh yeah,
Sounds like Auntie Barbara, 9 cigarettes and 4 beers in.
She watches this. Don't say that.
Oh shit! I forgot your aunt's name is Barbara.
She'll love that. He didn't mean that about
Sorry,
you.
Auntie Barbara. I did not. I was not singling you out.
She's so loyal.
Oh,
She's
man.
never gonna watch
That's
this again.
funny. So
That was really bad timing on my part.
oh man. So yeah, so I did move to LA last year. So all of 2023 I was there. It was 2022 I had like 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube at the time and everything, and everyone's just telling me go to LA.
Right.
I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm good here. I grew it all here. My family's here. I'm really close with them. I just don't see the point, But as time progressed, I'm just like, I don't know. I just started getting that itch. I'm like, what if they're right? What if let's do it. Let's do a shot at it. So I went out January 2023, and I did like it. It was nice. Just my time there, I was with another roommate from Rhode Island. I brought him out with me. I'm like, let's just go together. Let's just do
Was
this.
it your buddy that I met?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
It was Jeremy.
Right. Jeremy. Okay, cool. Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Yeah, no, he's dope. Yeah.
Shout out Jeremy.
Shout out Jeremy. Yeah. Yeah.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks. This episode of the So New England podcast is brought to you by Iggy's RI.
Iggy's RI serves their award-winning clam cakes, chowder, doughboys, and more at 2 beautiful locations, one in Narragansett and one in Warwick, Rhode Island.
If you're visiting the Oakland Beach location, don't forget, Iggy's Boardwalk is a full-service restaurant. They also have Iggy's Creamery. But in case you missed a taste of home, don't forget, Iggy's RI ships worldwide on Goldbelly, right to your front door.
Iggy's also offers catering for your next event, as well as their very own food truck, bringing their Rhode Island tradition directly to you.
For more questions, visit iggy'sri.com. And remember, folks, it's always summer at Iggy's.
So back to the LA thing. I completely forgot about this funny story. So my move out there, from here to there, we drove it. So 45 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was
Same amount of time it takes to get to Boston.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like you were on 93 North during rush hour.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So
What
it
was
took
that
us 7
like?
days. Say it again?
What was that like?
7 days, 3 guys in one car. It wasn't as draining because we were going slow. So it was like 7 hours each day, 2 to 3 hours each person. You don't feel it as much, but you don't know. I mean, we were just trying to hit certain cities. We hit Chicago, Kansas City. We just did the whole route.
Oh, that's cool.
It was fun, a fun
Made some
cross-country road
stops.
trip.
Yeah.
You can say you did it. Never doing it again. I'm like,
Left the car there, took a plane home.
exactly. I kind of did that. But yeah, once I got to LA, I mean, I love it there. It's nice, I'm just again so close to my family, and just once I kind of wrapped up that year, I'm like, okay, I think I'll go back. I always have doors open. If I ever end up going back there, I would. I mean, there's just like a lot of opportunities to do out there, but with my content specifically, I do it in the house, in a room with a green screen. I can pretty much do it anywhere. So just having that flexibility, wherever I feel good, I'll feel good. And just once that year wrapped up, I'm like, I'm back in New England. I love it.
That's
here.
cool though.
I love it.
Did you
here.
think that you wouldn't say that it really catapulted or made a change in your career trajectory at all? Would you?
No. If anything,
Outside of maybe making some, good networking and stuff.
The networking, absolutely. But nowadays, you can make all that same networking online, So I think it's just more on a preference-based thing. And what else was I going to say with that? Yeah, so it really didn't catapult my career to a whole new level, If anything, I don't want to say it stunted my growth a little bit, but, certain just moves in general.
Yeah.
They can take a pause on certain
Right.
things, and
Well,
it
I'm
just
sure it
also
takes
getting readjusted to a new city
I was
as
going to
well.
say, yeah, it takes a toll on your mind. So maybe
little
that,
bit, yeah.
like the comfort to be able to create because you're home. You don't have to think about
Yeah.
like, where's this, where's that? I got to drive. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Exactly.
So you have the ability to take some of that leftover brain
So the
power.
first few months out there, it kind of did that. Like it took a bit of a toll. I'm just like, okay, how's my mom doing? How's my family doing? All that. I'm just like, okay, I don't know. I just have to really think twice about this move right now. And what else was I gonna say about it? Yeah, but even then, like I have gone back ever since. I tend to go back here and there for certain events or just to see friends because I didn't make a lot of friends out there. So just being there, and I do feel a lot better. I can make content there now. So
Nice.
not saying that I'm moving back out there, but just more here. It's just like whatever life takes me.
Interesting.
do,
that you would, it's just because you would think that moving to LA used to be the thing, and
It
now
used to,
you can
yeah.
create everything right from your phone. So
Absolutely.
Now you've been a bit of a, I don't want to say outspoken, but you've been pretty vocal about your journey with taking breaks.
Yes.
Worrying about your mental health, talking about your internal struggles. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? Maybe
Absolutely.
some information on what you've done, how you've processed, because it is incredibly important. And you not only are someone with a platform, but you are someone who creates on platforms.
Yeah.
So you have both ends. You have the consumption aspect, you have the creating aspect, the career aspect, and you have the youth that we don't really have.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know
for
what
yourself.
your perspective is on the usage of cell phones and social media, your mental health,
Definitely.
dealing with comments, with people, with fame, because that's what you are. I mean, you are famous. So tell us a little bit about your mental health journey.
Yeah, I would definitely say, I mean, I unfortunately have been able to kind of really, how to explain it? I have been able to kind of what's the word? Jesus Christ. It's just more like, just to like understand where I am mentally, and I kind of accept what can happen, mentally. There have been a few challenges, let's say, especially, burnout. That's real.
Yeah.
That's a genuine thing that I feel like a lot of creators, they talk about, but maybe when you're just on a roll making content, you don't think much about it. I would say it was a good 2 years where I really didn't feel that much burnout. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine. Like, I don't got to sleep tonight, like all these thwhen as time progressed, you just start realizing, no, you're also a human. You have to kind of take certain pauses. You have to take days off. When I was doing a lot of content, even then I would just take Sundays off to at least have that break,
Oh, good for you.
Like breaks are
Smart.
very, very necessary. And there did come a point though where I just couldn't really handle it anymore in terms of just like the creativeness, because even when I would take my days off, I would just be obsessed with the numbers, obsessed with the ideas, obsessed with filming. I took a 3-month break earlier last year. So my move back. So started December up until the end of February, I was gone off the internet. I don't recommend it, especially during the holidays. I felt that financially. I would say my brain really enjoyed that because, for one, the move was a lot. I also did have a bit of a health scare with okay, sorry. It's all good. I think it was just I have mentioned this publicly. Like I had like my neck just really swelled up, and it just kind of like got stuck, and it was just due to stress and overworking. And I'm just like, oh, this is crazy. That's my body telling me, hey, stop.
Yeah. Take a chill.
Because I felt like a robot. Every day I would film. I would do, so when I was on my YouTube grind, let's say that's what I call it, I would do 1 short every day, and I would do 3 long videos a week. The way I filmed it though was 7 shorts all in one day. And then throughout that week, I would just do those 3 videos. And then I would stream on the side. And it was just all me. I had a friend helping me out at the time as well. But still, I just felt like I was just a robot doing all of that. And it just kind of came to a point where I just crashed, where I'm just like, I just need to take a break because I'm in it for the long run, So I took the break and I moved back out here, just got closer with my family again. My sister got married at the time too. So it was just nice being all that.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah,
Nice.
Thank you. And I like deleted all the apps off of my phone. I was that kid like, I'm gonna be off the grid for a bit, but I just did that because I just had to, because social media can be a little toxic as well, or just like you're consuming a lot, I was never really that kid who, like, especially in high school and stuff, I really wasn't on my phone like that either. I just was never a fan of technology either. It just became my livelihood now. Again, I'm old school where I write stuff down on paper still. But that's where I felt like I just really wanted to take care of my mental health too, where it's just, okay, I gotta take it easy.
Take a break.
Take a break.
I know we talk about that a lot because he's been in it for so long, he has more of that than I have ever in my small time creating anything or just being a part of his life while he's doing it. Yeah. But a lot of other people say the same thing, like just taking that time to, even if it's really just for a couple hours or a day, because you get so caught up in, it's like that one phrase, like, what's next? Yeah. What's next? Definitely. Because it's so inconsistent where you could pop off 1 month and you're like, wow, I'm chilling. This is great. Yeah. But it does stop eventually and you got to go on to the next one. So good for you for doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Or for me, it just kind of, it was also scary because I did accept the break, because I know people are always in now like I can't take a break. I can't do this. And like when you actually like kind of like eat that and you're like, you know what, let me just get off the grid. It's scary too, because it's like even like being gone for 1 day can kind of affect your channels and just affect your accounts. So being off for 3 months was a lot, but it was actually scary. It was kind of an indefinite break where it's like, when I'm ready, I'll come back. If I'm not ready, I won't come back, So it turned into 3 months. It could have been like a year. Not that I wanted it to, but at the same time, it's just, again, my goal is to always have fun with it. Once it kind of was becoming more of a job, I'm like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't know. So I just, accepting that takes a lot. Yeah, it's a lot 100%. Of work. I know. And
you should be proud of yourself, because a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Not that I'm pointing any fingers, but a lot of people struggle with the ability to get to a place like that. So
it was a lot. And I just kind of felt, even my friends are like, I told them, I'm like, guys, I'm freaking out. I don't think I should do this. And they're just like, your following's always going to be there, this and that. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like they come and it's not how it works, but they're just like, no, like just do it. Or for me, at least, once I did take that break, I'm like, okay, if I do take this break, I know I got to come back stronger than ever. So if anything, I really got to enjoy this break, and I really got to accept it, and I just got to make it as long as possible, you know? It turned into, I said 2 weeks initially, actually. It's like, but I still wasn't ready. I'm like, you know what? Let's just ride out the holidays. Let's just, like, enjoy my sister's wedding, like, enjoy February as well, and really, really just, like, to, like, enjoy life for a bit. And then just, if anything, it made me crave it again. It made me want to do videos again. It made me want to do that.
Made you hungry.
And it left me like, okay. And I was kind of hungry like early February, but I'm like, no, let me starve. Like, let me enjoy this. No. And then just to the point where it's just like, let me actually get to a point where, okay, guys, sorry about this break, but hey, let's go. Yeah, like, let's go. It's not going to be like, okay, I'm kind of back now. I'm just going to, throw in videos here. No, it's like, no, let's just start again. So that's what led me to launching these 2 other channels, the streaming and the Spanish channel and everything, and then just launching the plushies and all that, just getting back into it. But that's where I'd say my mental health was kind of as well. And there have been like ups and downs too, which is like personal lives and everything. But I think I just became very, very fortunate where videos has also been my escape with that. Like, especially during the tough times of COVID and then just like a lot of family stuff going on. It's like, videos was my escape. So if anything, if I'm going through something, I'll film. Like, shoot, if you see me upload 3 videos one day, I'm going through it. You know?
Someone check on my boy.
It's like,
yo, you good videos. Jorge, talk to me, boy. What's happening?
Call our guy.
But no, it's just, I just love doing it. I just kind of made that my escape. So yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you for sharing that with us and being vulnerable.
Absolutely.
That's really awesome that you're able to process that, and hopefully people can watch this episode, hear that, and take some advice from it. So
take breaks, guys.
Now I do have to ask, with all of your success, has there been a moment where you felt like, aha, I made it, or this is the coolest thing I've ever done, or this is like, I can't believe I'm doing this? Like, has there been that singular moment, or is it just like each time it happens, it's great? Like, what has kind of made that, given you that feeling of accomplishment with what you've done?
I feel like there are a lot of things. Let's say I feel like even just like being invited to events and stuff, that alone is just like, oh wow, this is insane. Like even last month I got invited to the White House, which is crazy. Like to talk about mental health, and I'm just like, this is crazy, guys. Like what is going on? And then VidCon as well, became a featured creator. Just like I had a merch booth selling those plushies and everything. It's just those crazy moments are just like, this is insane. Like not that I've made it. I don't really see it like that. I just see it more like, this is just crazy, like everything, like when I thought I kind of like reached my peak, I'd say that something else crazier happened, something else crazier, which is insane. But there were certain milestones, especially early on, where just making a video alone, where I'm like, oh, I made this really nice video, and then, oh wow, wait, it did take off like crazy, I think I can make something out of this, and then I do. Those achievements alone really feel very fulfilling. A very personal one was, it was late 2020. I was kind of like 8 months into doing it. My mom, I told her, hey mom, I'm taking a gap semester. And she's like, are you sure? Like, what is this? Like, like, what is this about? So she was very hesitant, but I still felt her support. She's like, just don't be stupid. Pretty much that. And for that Christmas, I got her a shout out by her favorite Spanish artist. And I just made a TikTok. I want this video to go out to him, can we have this reach out to his daughters? Because he didn't have TikTok at the time, right? But his daughters did. So everybody contacted his daughters, and then it got to him. And then 3 days later,
that's cool.
It just got to my mom. And that moment was like a reflection on everyone, like in that house. Like for me, it was like, oh my God, I did that. Like that's crazy, Yeah. And for my mom, it's like, oh my God, what is this kid doing? Like I think it made her realize like he's capable of something, Yeah. With this, he
can actually do something. Thank God. I was worried for a second.
Exactly, but
that's really cool.
It was definitely certain moments like that. I think just little achievements that kind of made me snowball into being like, oh wait, I can make something out of this. Not that I felt like I didn't, but getting that validation from certain things is like, oh, that's crazy. Also brand deals as well.
That's
like
fun.
I think it was early 2021. That was I got a 1-year brand deal with Hollister.
When we met, I remember you told me like, I got a couple months left. Hopefully maybe we renew.
We sadly didn't. Yeah. But, no, I mean, they're amazing. Right. I love everyone on that team and our stuff, and like they always change the teams here and there, but everyone there was great. That was probably still one of the highlights. It's still one of the highlights of my content creating journey, because when I got that email like, hey, 1-year deal, X amount, I'm like, oh my God, I'm quitting Walmart. You know, like, this is a full-time thing. And it was nice because it's, like you said, everyone always has that worry of income in terms of this, like the creator economy and stuff. Like, where are you going to see yourself in 6 months? You know, are you still going to make the same amount, this and that? So having a 1 year solid deal like that just kind of gave me security of, okay, I have 1 year. I have 1 year where I can
you almost start to create more freely that way.
Yes, that's what I did.
Stress.
So I took a lot more risks. I hopped on YouTube, you know, I killed my TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, all these things were just like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And just knowing that I have at least that steady form of income. Yeah, I can take all these risks right now and just be more free, which is amazing. You know, it's
what
nice.
An awesome story. And obviously, I mean, I feel like I don't even have to ask. You've been very vulnerable about your life. I know you've gone through quite a few things, ups and downs. You've had a lot of great successes. Your family is very important to you. They are very supportive of what you're doing, and they're always involved. And I think that that's fantastic too. And I do appreciate that you've shared everything with us.
Definitely.
But we would not be the So New England podcast if we did not wrap up with our key questions for you. So
let's go.
You're traveled. You went across to the West Coast. You've been through quite a few cities and states. If you could add one state to our wonderful New England region, one state, which includes all of the people, the traffic, the weather, the oceans, the mountains, whatever it is, what would it be? What would be the seventh state of New England?
Shoot, I'm over here trying to remove states. I'm trying to remove Connecticut.
Let's go.
What are you talking about? Add another state to this.
Oh, no.
I think we're good. Yeah. Honestly.
I'm going to have to take an LOA.
I have been opening this up to the fact that if you want it to be a whole nother country, so if you want it to be somewhere in Europe or, you know, Ireland or Guatemala or anything, bring them on up. Don't matter to me. But, you know, who would it be?
Say it again, like bring someone up.
Yeah, it could be a whole country. It could be
bring a whole country, like
it doesn't
culture
just
and
have
stuff,
to be it.
Or just man, oh shoot.
I know we expanded the question.
Honestly, I've never been, but you've heard like Japanese like public transportation and stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we need that here.
So you're bringing Japan over?
I'll bring the public transportation over.
You don't just get to take one thing. It's got to be the whole thing.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. Bring Japan over.
Honestly,
Who cares?
let's bring
them
Japan.
over.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
I'm down.
That's a first.
I'll take
I
that
love
before
that.
New York, you know?
All right.
100%.
Also, to clarify, Japan alone is like 15 times the size of New England.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, oh,
we
man,
are
that's going to be
the whole
huge.
U.S. is
all
now
right.
Japan
Yeah.
and New
We
England.
love that.
Exactly.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I love that. That's great. All
Another
right.
one.
Definitely.
Another
Let's
one.
hear
Our
another
last
one.
question.
Shoot.
Wait. Go ahead.
Could you please rank in order your New England states?
My New England states.
Favorite being number one. Least favorite being Connecticut, 6.
Okay.
Well, you
I
can do
would
1
say-
through 5.
I'm
We
not
know
trying
it's
to
6.
like push a narrative here. I'm just
Yeah, let's
He
hear it.
technically started.
Okay, so
I can't
let's
even deal
say-
with you.
Oh, man. I'm being very biased. Yeah. Number 1 is Rhode Island.
okay.
That's fair.
The beaches, the food, everything.
Lock it in.
You know? Okay. Number 2, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Right?
Hmm.
3, let's throw in,
Don't mess this
I'm going to go with Maine. I'm
Ooh,
going
okay.
to go with Maine.
Not
Lobster.
often Maine gets a third.
I don't think
They're
so.
either
right?
like
So
number
far
1 or
up
they're
there.
usually down by 5.
Yeah, it's either top or the bottom for
Right,
them.
and
So you're
then-
going Maine.
I love how you said no.
And then Vermont and New Hampshire. Those two.
I love that.
They're like
Yeah.
siblings that hate each other. I would say I'll go to New Hampshire more.
Okay.
So I'll say New Hampshire 4,
Vermont.
and then
5.
5 Vermont.
All right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fair. Love that.
Wonderful.
And then
That's a
there's no
great
such thing
list.
as the 6th one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
This is why you guys are so
Jorge, my friend, this has been fantastic. Where can everyone find anything specific coming up that you want to tell anybody about?
I mean,
we
the
can
plushie, we got the
reiterate.
plushie coming out.
Plushie
yes,
coming out.
guys, buy it, please.
Yeah. Please buy it. Please buy
Yes,
it. There is
please,
an
please.
influx
You hold it. You're cute as
of
a
orders that have already been done. So these are all sitting in his, studio apartment right now, and he just doesn't have any more room to sleep. So if you guys could order
Exactly.
these,
Exactly.
this one's coming home with me. Phoebe,
Yes.
you can't have it.
I know.
Very good.
Yeah, Phoebe.
I owe one for Phoebe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else specific going on that everyone else should know about? Or if not, tell them where everyone can find you on social media.
Everybody can find me on YouTube, on anywhere on social media as Horchata Soto, pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
thank you so much for coming on and being with us today on the So New England podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Let's do
Thank
this.
you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude episode 24 of the So New England podcast. What an awesome episode. What an awesome episode we have had. It's been a long day. And remember, folks,
Life's better in New England. Woo!